was like, okay, it liked this one this time. I think I probably didn't realize I was putting in the wrong link in the wrong spot. Anyhow, and then it like all melted. Oh, I think it's streaming live.
I was just going to say that. It looks like it's streaming live. Hello. Hello,
hi,
friends.
everyone. We're just a hot mess. Okay. Let me see if I can make it not live just for a bit.
If it doesn't, then, we'll just wait for our other people.
Here we are.
Here we are. That's funny. It gave me that little notification that it was live streaming, but it was kind of a different thing than it normally does. So I was like, okay. And then
why did it get so out of practice? Like we even met in November and December, and then in January, or no, in December was when I had the trouble the first time.
Oh yeah, it's true.
I don't know what it was.
I don't know. It's probably Zoom.
Yeah.
Nobody's here yet though, so we're good.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it usually gave me, an extra step. Like I would, do live on Zoom, and then I would have to confirm I wanted to go live on YouTube, and it didn't do that this time.
Oh,
wow.
Oopsie.
Now I know.
Yeah. Well, at least now we know not to say anything that we don't want on the internet. Not that we ever do, but
never.
Well, we probably do. In our after chats.
Well, that's after you're a glass of wine deep, right?
That's true. And I even filled it a little fuller tonight. So
a little generous.
Yeah, it's Friday. It's fine. I'm not going anywhere.
I like on the Ellen show, she showed this one glass of wine that could hold an entire bottle of wine in it.
Oh my gosh.
So she's like, you can say, I've only had one glass.
This is true. My boss for Christmas this year gave me a bottle of wine, and then he put it with this, like one of those hand painted wine glasses. But it's like so big. I'm like, I don't think that I could ever actually use this. So it's just like this. I guess this is just going to be for decoration because this is way too big. I'd have like this much wine in it, and then like all this space. Like, I don't want to be that much of a lush. Just a little bit of a lush.
Hi, Chelsea.
Hi.
So I accidentally made us live right away. So
just so you know, we're live already.
Don't do anything too crazy.
Yeah.
Chelsea, she's such a party animal. I don't know what she's going to
do. Oh, man.
Chelsea, though, while we're getting ready, you wouldn't have seen, because I only just posted the link for the Friday Patreon video. You're February patron of the month.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited.
Hi, Lisa.
I haven't seen yet. No, because I just got off work and ate supper, and oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I'll go watch that as soon as we finish here then.
Wait, I think I think my thing froze up. What did you say about her book?
Oh, she won patron of the month for February. I wanted to go ahead and draw the February name so I could do one post office trip for that, and the Valentine's chocolate exchange.
Fun. Yay, cool.
I'm gonna have to start thinking about what book I want to put on the poll.
Yes. Oh yeah, Elizabeth was very excited about that right away.
Yeah, great power, great responsibility.
I know. And you know what? Several times the patron picks have won too. Hi, Angie. So we're live already. Somehow the setting that I did made it go live immediately. So
just so you know. There's no lead time. We're in it.
Oh, Lisa says, Chelsea, pick a good book for us. So no pressure.
She'll be good. I have confidence in her selections.
Yes. So I guess we can talk about this book.
You sound so enthusiastic.
I finished it just a little bit ago. Woo!
Yay, Rudy! I mean, I wear my heart on my sleeve when it comes to, many things. And I just really, really like the regular settings. So I felt like these two were like, she for years had fans being like, let's have Father Tim go home. And she kind of pondered that idea. And then people be like, oh, can we get to go with him to Ireland? So I understand why she wrote them. And I'm a grumpy old man about changes with the Mitford series. So the parts with Cynthia and Tim, I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I loved, I really liked getting to see, I feel like Jan Karen often puts her characters in positions where they would not have chosen it themselves, but they're able to find the good that was in it. So I would be furious if I sprained, possibly broke my ankle and was stuck in a hotel the whole time in Ireland. Like, you're in Ireland. I would be fuming. So I love just kind of, you can choose to kind of try to find the good in it, even though it's so expensive to travel and all of it. Just, I really find, I love how she finds something redeeming in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was terrified for Cynthia when there was the man in the room. I feel like I would have nightmares forever after that, and just like would never want to sleep in a house by myself. Like, that would just make me really scared. So I hope in the next book, like, she's doing okay. Maybe actually a benefit of it happening on the trip was she would be less worried about it happening back at home.
Mm.
I loved the Dooley and Lace drama. Like, I don't know why, but I am here for it. Like, you know what? If he was my age and I was single, honestly, I would marry Dooley. Like, I think he's grown up so well. And I just,
I said 100%. I would totally.
Yeah. Like, he's just like, remember he was like, he turned from the kid who like showed up and said, I got to take a dump, to now he's so hardworking, and he's going to be a veterinarian, and I love how calm and collected. We got to see a couple books back, he was when Barnabas got hit by the car, and it's really cool to see. And what I love is the end result of seeing how he has grown up, and to a man, like young man with such integrity, is all of those difficult days that Father Tim had with him, all of these little things adding up into big things.
Yeah.
And the plot line of the past, it has to be either, like, I can't just read about it. It has to be like a Susanna Kearsley, where part of the plot is modern day, and then part of it is going to be back with those characters from the past, and I travel back and forth. It just doesn't feel kind of up close and personal enough reading it. Like, if it was actual documents from my family, I would be interested in sitting and reading with those. But for some reason, this kind of book, it's not. Oh, Lisa asked, what was the scary thing? The scary thing was when Cynthia went into her room and there was a man in the room when the power was out, and she saw him just like leave all of a sudden.
Yeah, he jumped out of the armoire and like hit her, almost not intentionally hit her, but kind of pushed her, and she sprained her ankle.
Oh,
yeah. And was scared, obviously.
Yes, yeah. So I guess, Angie, I know you said, how far were you able to get in this one?
I only made it about like 35% of the way, so I'm not going to have anything valuable to add to this conversation, unfortunately. Now, I will say the first couple of chapters, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a 5-star read. This is going to be so good, because I loved the setting. I loved that they were in Ireland. I thought they were going to sightsee and we were going to see Ireland through their eyes. And I love any books where people are traveling or living in a place where I want to visit. And so I'm living vicariously through them. So, and the writing was beautiful, and just, whenever they quote other poets or literature or anything, it's just so beautiful. So I was like, this is going to be amazing. And then we started reading about they kept talking about this diary, and I'm like, but okay, fine. All right, fine. I'm like, have an open mind, but I have zero interest in reading about these people. Like, first of all, I'm kind of confused because I don't know exactly who they are. I don't know. I think they're related to the people who own that hotel or that house where they're staying. Mm-hmm. So I really wasn't invested. And so I actually started to skim those parts because I didn't really care. And then I was disappointed that they weren't sightseeing, but I thought, you know what, but it'll still be nice for them to, interact with the family and, with the other visitors, the other tourists. But it did not turn out to be what I had hoped it would. Now, granted, I haven't made it very far, so it could still turn around for me, but I was pretty disappointed with what I've read so far.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Chelsea, I'm very intrigued to know what you will think, because I know you do love kind of genealogy and historical fiction. So was this like right up your alley or no?
Not as much as I thought it would be. And it's funny because there's so many elements that I thought I would really enjoy, and like it just didn't really work in this book. For starters, this was the first book of the whole series that I actually physically read because there was no audiobook.
Oh.
This was my first non-audio Mitford book, and it was a bad first one because I don't love reading dialect. Like, I love listening to an audiobook with dialect, but I have a hard time like reading dialect. So then like not just the usual like Southern Mitford dialect, but now we have like the Irish dialect. So that was a bit I'm like, man, why is this the first book that my library doesn't have in audio when it's like 90% of the dialogue is in dialect? I think when you said that about, I was wondering why, because I normally really like dual, triple timeline books. And so I'm like, why is this diary not connecting with me? And I think it's what you said, that it's like you weren't really, because you're just reading the man's diary, you never really got invested in that storyline. It was kind of just like reading about his days.
Yeah.
And I kept waiting for it to like tie in to the story.
Yeah.
Never really did. Like I was willing to kind of suffer through. Yeah, I mean, there's like, it's like the house's origin story, and they kind of found the painting.
Yeah.
They were looking for a room, but I thought it was going to really tie in to like solving some of the family issues.
It didn't feel like Book Zealot said that she felt like it plays a part at the ending. And I do think it plays a part, but it didn't pay off to me all the work of, well, I say all the work, but I just skimmed through the diary parts.
I did not. So it was work.
If it had been a couple entries, it would have felt like it paid off, but it was like large swaths of chapters would be this diary. So it was like, that was a bit odd. Things I did, this is a spoilers, Angie, I'm sorry. But the other thing I found super weird, and I don't know if I missed this, but I didn't skim read, so I don't think I did. We had those multiple mentions when Cynthia is painting for Evelyn of the ring. Like, she wants her to take this ring as payment, and Cynthia's like, I can't take a ring, I love to paint. And then we have that phone call where Dooley says he wants to give Lace a ring, and I'm like, the ring is gonna, all the pieces are coming together, and then it did it.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a good.
Yeah, this is great. Like, Cynthia's gonna take the ring and give it to Dooley to give to Lace, and it's gonna be like this really sentimental, blah blah blah. But it didn't happen. I was like, why are we talking about? Like, I was like, you set it up there with the ring. I was.
Although maybe in the next one, depending, I don't know what the premise of the next one is, but maybe we'll start off with them coming back from Ireland and him giving.
That would be cool. That would be
really cool. I hope that links together, because I'm like, it's weird to have these two Ring references so close together without
that is true. I didn't even think about
a
that.
tie-in. I did really like the parts where they were out and about, like where they went to see the graveyard and see the gravestones of that. I loved that part.
Yeah,
that was amazing. Like that's.
I know, like more of that. I wanted them like gallivanting about Ireland.
Yes,
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah. What I was kind of expecting, and the first couple chapters, like you said, Angie, where they're arriving and there's like the other guests at the B&B, it totally reminded me. I don't know how many of you have seen P.S. I Love You, but that's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, it reminded me of that.
Totally reminded me of the second half of that movie, especially when they go out fishing and then their life jackets blow up and they lose their paddles. Like I was like, this is perfect. It's exactly that. Like,
and describing the inn, and it was just really, really lovely. Yeah, I got way excited at the at the very beginning.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I did like that we saw, I guess, some of kind of like the intergenerational effects in Lace and Dooley's relationship, that like it's not like just because they have had good influences in their life now and are really trying to make a life for themselves, there's still like trauma from their past that comes up and it interferes with their relationship. So that felt really realistic, and I appreciated the nuance there. I did see like on the back of my copy, it said this was Jan Karen's favorite. I was like,
really? I'm shocked.
She was like, this is my favorite book in the series. I was like, really?
Okay. Sorry, Jan. I hope she never sees this.
We love your writing, but this one really is a favorite.
Oh, this was cute. Ariane says, did anyone else love the dog that attached to Tim?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite. Sweet. Yeah. I was just picturing him the whole time, and his little legs and the shoe in the mouth.
Yeah, that was funny how they had kind of like banished him, and then Tim's like, no, you can let him hang out with us.
Yeah. That was cute.
I
did like that.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Rainey.
Oh, I just said I did like that since there was no Barnabas. It was kind of cute to have a little dog as opposed to a
big
ginormous
lumbering.
Yeah. My brother has a Jack Russell Terrier, and he is just the most adorable, energetic thing. When I was up there a couple of summers ago, I stayed with my brother, and his little Jack Russell made its way into my room where I was staying, and he would go in with his little treats and hide them in the blanket. And so my last day, I was only there a few days, and I never made my bed. And so the last day I did this to the comforter to, like air it out, and I was going to put it in the laundry, and all these treats just fell out. Yeah, really, really cute little dog. I love him.
That's really funny. You know what is funny? I'm just not a huge dog person. I'm like a well-behaved dog person. I can enjoy a well-behaved dog. But I lived for a summer with my grandparents with their Jack Russell, Ruby, and she was only like a year old. And Jack Russells are just, they have such a reputation for being high energy. Mm-hmm. And she ate so many of my flip-flops. And
oh no.
You would do this thing where she would get out of the house, and then my grandmother would be trying to get her in the front yard, and she would just run circles around my grandmother. She was just so excited to be out. But the one thing that was kind of cute, kind of gross, she liked to cuddle with me, and she would go to sleep, and she would lay like right here. But she did this thing when she was settling in where she would put her nose here, and she would go right in my ear.
Cute and gross. That is true.
It's like babies, cute and gross.
Yeah. It's like, I love you, so I'll take all this disgusting poop and
yes.
That's always what I say. Like, God did me a service when he did not make me a mother, because I don't know that I could handle.
You know what? When it's your own kid's didiaper, like genuinely, my kids' diapers are just less gross than other kids.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard, and I'm like, I'm sure I could handle it, but it's just in my head, like if another friend is like, can I change my baby in your living room? I'm like, please don't. Or like, do you want to hold my baby that just freshly pooped in his diaper? Not really.
I'll take him after.
Yeah.
So I guess that leaves Rainy.
Oh,
what
yes.
did you think of this? And this is very fresh in your mind because you just finished
Yes, I just finished it because I looked at my calendar, and even though I had crossed off our initial date,
it, right?
I still looked at it and thought, I have this many days to read this book. And then you sent us the Zoom link, and I was like, oh, no, I don't. Okay. Well, like Angie, the first couple of chapters, I was like, this is going to be wonderful. This is just what we need after that last one that was kind of just not anybody's favorite.
Yes.
And I was very excited to go around Ireland with them and be hanging out with his cousin. And then like the cousin basically never showed up. I really don't understand where that plot line went. I totally missed, like, I know they were late, but then did they never come? Because I don't remember them being there at all.
They showed up at the B&B for like a night or two and then went on, and it was like, oh, we'll meet you in a couple days. And then they were like, actually, we will not be meeting you.
Oh, that was like totally a disappointment. That part, because that's the part I was kind of looking forward to, is because we've had this like phone conversations between them for like the entire series. And I was like, oh, good. We're finally going to get to hang out with them all in person. And, they're going to go on all these adventures. And then it's just like, hey, we're just crossing paths in Ireland. Okay, we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, and then the buildup of none of them wanting to drive, but Catherine being like a speed demon. I was like, I wanted to see that. I wanted to read about them trying, taking those little roads at high speeds. And it's like, well, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
There just seemed like there was a lot of stuff in here that was only kind of like half addressed or like glossed over. But then, obviously like the dramatic parts with the people at the inn and the intruder and Bella and all that stuff was like a really big deal. But everything with Father Tim, like after Cynthia hurt her foot, it's like, well, this whole trip it's just going to be us sitting in a hotel. I'm like, what?
That is what it felt like.
Yeah, and it kind of, now I don't think I've read enough books set on ships to have this gripe, but I've heard a lot of people talk about how they hate books set on ships because it's just, you never get away from the ship. And I felt like this was a ship.
Yeah, and it's funny. I have that issue with closed circle mysteries. Like I know like Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile are really loved by Christie fans, and I'm just like, I am restless.
Yeah,
I want to do something else.
I kind of like those ones, but I think it's because they're faster. Like
they don't feel fast to me.
No.
I agree. It's definitely faster than this, which was a lot of. And it's interesting because Mitford is very small, but there is enough, like there's like the 2 barbershops. Or I guess one's a hair salon, one's a barbershop. There's the church, the bookshop, and then also the farm, like they can go out to the farm sometimes. And some of the like the homeless, is it Homeless Hobbs? Is that his name? Yeah. I feel like there's enough places to go. That I don't get that restless.
Yeah. And I too, with like the diary entries and stuff, like Chelsea was saying, it could have been like a chapter's worth of diary entries. And then, that could have been it. And then to me, like, I don't like to read gross things. I definitely don't like to watch gross things. Yes. But like, I ended up having Talk to Text read this to me towards the end because I was like, I ended up buying the Kindle version of it whenever I realized that I didn't have enough time to read it and having talk to text. So I'm eating my lunch as they're talking about like pus and stuff like that coming out of, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
The dental abscess surgery scene was like a lot.
Oh my gosh.
A
I was
lot.
like, this like Jen Karen, what are you doing?
Well, I think maybe I could have, I think another way it could have worked well is if, what was the matriarch's name?
Evelyn?
Evelyn?
Yeah.
Yes. If she had somehow known this history of the family, it's very like Montagues and Capulets. Except no one was in love, or were they?
I don't even know. I got so confused by
that
this.
was kind of convoluted. But if she had said, I have to get this off my chest. Now, I think I'm dying. Let me tell you about it. And she had told the history of the family in kind of a long chapter. Maybe that could have worked for me.
Yeah. Oh, and then speaking of the family dynamics, the whole part about like they thought that they were brother and sister and they had been married. I'm like, why'd we go there?
Sweetie, do you remember that time we thought we were maybe siblings? Isn't that so funny? Funny when it happens.
I was just like, huh? What? Why? Why are we? I mean, it was funny, and I like kind of, and I was intrigued by it because I was like, well, yeah, what would you do if all of a sudden you thought like, I've been married to this guy for like 20 years. And suddenly I find out I might be his sister. Like, how would you deal with that? But
when I was a little girl, there was a Mexican movie my family watched, and we rewatched it several times, about a man and woman who meet, and they find out years after being married that they're brothers and sisters. And so they saw it as a sin because they were Catholic. And so it was a very big sin to marry your sibling. So they end up committing suicide. I was so scarred by that movie.
Oh my gosh.
I cannot, anytime where there's like incest like that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, no. It takes me back to that time to my childhood watching that movie and just being so like traumatized by the fact that
I haven't gotten to that part yet, Angie. It happened.
I know, I understand that too. Like if they are Catholic, then isn't suicide a mortal sin?
Yes.
Like you definitely sealed the deal there.
You're right, Kate. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess we figured we're screwed either way. Let's just.
Yeah. Oh, that does sound so bleak. There was one that I saw, and well, in case anybody wants to see it, I'm not going to say the name of it, but there are these two, they think they're just first cousins that are secretly dating, and they come to like a family, I think Thanksgiving, and they finally work up the courage to like tell people. And then the mom pulls aside her daughter. She's like, I had an affair with Uncle so-and-so, so you're actually siblings.
Oh
no. Gosh. Oh. I mean, okay, so I can understand why this might have been Jen Karen's favorite one to write, because man, it was like a soap opera. So it was not like the quiet little nice Mitford. It was.
And you know what? I could totally see there being historical documents that she took inspiration from. And
probably.
At the end of the book, in the physical copy, because I didn't have access to the audiobook for this one, she had a list of like 50 different people, or maybe even longer, from Ireland that had helped her with this book. So I think she really did a lot of research. I think she totally went to Ireland. I'm sure there's interviews about this, and you could probably I
mean, I can see why this is her favorite, but because I can see as a writer being really excited to write something like this.
Yes.
But I think as the reader reading from the beginning and falling in love with those characters, like, you might be excited to go to Ireland, but then you get like, you get the same disappointment as Cynthia that like, oh, now we're stuck at this hotel.
You're all really identifying with Cynthia in this book.
Yeah. And then I just part of me was like, why can't she travel with a sprained ankle?
Yeah,
I understand. Like, I understand that she can't like climb the stairs of an Irish castle because I've done that. It's treacherous. but
Well, was part of it, she really wasn't listening to her doctor about getting an x-ray. I think he really was convinced it was like a hairline fracture. And so this was the compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, why can't they just drive around? Like, she'll just be sitting in the car.
You can even sit in the back of the car with her leg propped up.
Yeah.
Well,
she can look at a castle.
How big the car was.
Right. Especially since she was going down the stairs on her bottom anyways. It's like, you're not really sitting still. You're still going, moving around. So why not just take a few more steps or, get carried into the Rover, wherever, whatever they were, and just drive.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I kind of wish Tim would take more in stride is when she gets in a like creative frenzy, because I mean, she surely doesn't write more than one Violet book a year, right?
Yeah, probably.
And I would think like the kind of the deadline stuff. I feel like she's probably in a big frenzy for like a month. And she loves making the Violet book. So I think he's kind of a baby about that.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's like, why isn't she paying attention to me?
Yeah. And he's like off like pass-free people all the time.
Yeah.
And she doesn't gripe about it.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, and the thing is, it's like he knew what she did for a living way before he married her. So like it's not like she just found this new hobby.
Right.
And is like ignoring him for it. It's like it's what brings her money. And it's like her job that she's had before she ever met you, Tim. So
I was shocked at that description. That was actually one of my favorite parts. The description of Anna's like study office, that she has like all her gardening like maps and like pictures of flowers that she wants to plant and stuff. But then when Tim was like, oh, should I like make Cynthia like an art room studio space at home? I guess I have my study, but she has nothing. I'm like, what?
You would think she would have already had one, right? I mean, being that that's her job, you would think she'd have her own.
I think she did in her house. But then maybe once they moved in together, she had never kind of graduated to
yeah, it's like, maybe I should build her some art space. And when we get home, I'm like, yeah, you should.
Yeah, you should.
The description of the room though, that like, it just has like such like greenhouse cottage core kind of.
Yes.
Like, I would love to see in a movie.
Yes.
Yeah. See, and I think I might have, well, maybe not, because then they would have showed the medical procedures. But I was gonna say, I think I might have liked this better as a movie, but now I'm thinking maybe not.
Well, I just look away whenever I'm watching anything medical. I just close my eyes during the gross stuff. I hear it, but it doesn't bother.
Well, that's the thing too. I can't just look away because I have to like leave the room. Like I can't. Yeah, my ex used to like to watch what was that zombie thing that was on Walking Dead?
Oh.
And he like wanted me to watch this thing in the worst way. And first of all, I was like, do you even know who I am? Like, why? And so he had like this one other guy friend that lived in town with me. And I was like, go over there. We don't need to spend every waking hour together. Just go. No, I don't relax.
A hobby with someone else. I'm not one of your guy friends.
Yep. That's something you guys can share together. We've got plenty of other things.
Yes.
But yeah, so I don't know. And also what Chelsea was saying about Dooley and Lace. I liked seeing that they aren't like suddenly just over everything and mature, because they are only 21 years old. So it is it's plausible that she might hit him several more times throughout their life together.
He's a real doormat, that Lace.
They may have to go to counseling, probably.
may or may not. You know what? Even like very functional couples, it's just a good thing to go to counseling. So
Oh yeah.
they'll just be maybe a couple steps ahead of other people who think they're doing just fine.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yes, it's definitely a problem that she hit him. But
Yes,
like,
not good.
yeah, but I feel like he should have, well, and of course, again, he's only 21, so he's going to be stubborn. But like, I feel like if Father Tim would have said to me, like, you do know that you both have childhood trauma, and she was beaten up a lot, and like, your life was pretty horrible. He'd be like, yeah, I know, you're right. I should probably talk to her.
Yes.
Which apparently is what happened in the end, but yeah.
Right.
So
It's funny, Rainey, when you say that Father Tim's always pastoring, because that's like the other thing that I found kind of like, I guess I thought maybe this book would kind of be a break from that, like they would travel and have a break, and the fact that it's like he always ends up like knee deep in people's personal issues. It kind of reminded me of like Anne of Windy Poplars is where I feel like that's like the low point of the Anne series for me, Anne of Windy Poplars. And it gets to the point where it's like really like everybody that Anne meets, she like instantly improves their life and fixes all their problems. And it kind of feels like that with Father Tim, where it's like, really? Like everywhere he goes and everyone he meets has like a tragic backstory that he's able to just like give them like some fun one-liners and their like problems are fixed. Like really? Even on vacation?
Yeah.
Well, it's like Jan Karen has two themes, like community and pastoring. And you see that when he was in Holly Springs, you even had that little like he formed a little community with the lady who had I don't know if she had dementia, and then her caretaker, and like he became friends with the little shop owners. And I kind of thought that was, I mean, I understood how it could happen because he'd been there, he was there visiting for days. But at that point I was thinking, can't she cool it with the community? It's like, when I'm somewhere, when I'm visiting and I'm staying there for a few days, I don't necessarily, form a community with the people.
I hide, actually. That's what I do.
Yeah. And so she did the same thing in Ireland. He had his little community and then was able to pastor within his little community.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, take a break from that.
I forget. Do you guys watch Gilmore Girls?
No,
I have. Yeah.
I never have.
There's at one point they end up in a bed and breakfast and they hadn't gotten around to eating lunch. And then at supper time, and they realize though there's like a community building exercise happening downstairs. And so they like live off a couple mints for their supper. That's what they'd rather do.
My family and I stayed at a bed and breakfast one time in Ocean City or something. And I really liked it because I don't mind talking to people. Like I don't necessarily seek it out, but if it's going to happen, I'm fine with it. But my dad is really, he thinks he's not sociable, but he totally is. But my mom is totally not sociable. And like, she would rather just be with us and nobody else. And, and it's, whatever. So at the end of the trip, like I was living my best life because this was like a place where I could just sit out on the patio and read and, like walk down to the beach. Then like there would be breakfast and quiche. And, and I was like living my best beach Mitford life.
That's awesome.
And at the end of the trip, I was like, can we go back here next year? And my mom's like, no.
No.
Of course, I probably would not have liked the community building event either. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't like everything about having to eat with like just at one big table with the other guests, but it didn't like bother me, I guess. Like I was up for it.
Yeah, we did that this summer when we went to stay at an Airbnb. It was like a big place. A lot of people stayed. And I didn't mind that because people just talked at mealtime and then let everyone do their own thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I did like the parts where they were having dinner and they were talking with the travel club or whatever the travel club and the fishing club. Like I enjoyed that part, but it's like you talk and then you separate. You go your own way.
Yeah.
Your cat is very social tonight.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was so funny. They were like a book club, and then they were a wine club, and then they were a travel club. That was a fun plot line.
Yeah, I like them. I would have liked to have seen more of them.
Yes,
I
definitely.
totally agree. Like they could have gone to a couple locations, like.
Or
even I thought it was so ridiculous how somebody wanted him to drive, and he really, really didn't want to drive. Like, should not have forced him to drive.
No, like I didn't even know where that came from. I must have missed that part too. I was like, why is it such a big deal that you want him to try driving this car? Like
people get notions. They just decide like my idea is so great. Everyone else is my idea.
See, now, I think though it goes back to that community building that Jen Karen wanted to do. Like go drive this car. Stop at Jack Kennedy's, get to know the people in the pub. It's like, don't force it. Don't force it, Jan.
Yes.
Now, I was going to say, though, as we're talking, I thought I would have appreciated that whole plot line if, like, the just being in the hotel, if it had happened later. Like, if we got a little bit of traveling for a while and maybe like the cousin had already been there.
Yeah.
And it started out well and they were all like, oh, this is going swimmingly. It's only taken us so many years to get here. And now it just seems like everything's going well. And then boom, you know, I would have appreciated that more. I like just having it happen right at the beginning just made it more of a slog. But I think if they had like, and even, well, I guess they couldn't have had the diary prior to being there because that was
just less diary entries then.
Well, true. Yeah, less diary entries would have been nice. But yeah, I feel like it was a long enough book that we could have cut a lot of that out and had like the beginning portion be like traveling and meeting people along the way, but maybe they were just like a person you had dinner with here and there. Maybe like the ladies travel club could have popped up at the beginning and then, oh, we're also here at this hotel later, you know? So yeah, I just think like the pacing of the book was wrong, maybe.
Yes.
Is the only, like, did I miss something, or is the only tie-in with the diary that they find the painting because they're trying to find the quarantine room? Is that's the whole?
I feel like that's all it was.
Okay, no, I'm like, I don't know if I missed something. But it was a lot.
Yeah.
And so what about the intruder? How did that play out? What was the whole point of that man?
Oh. So the guy that jumped out of the
armoire,
was the boyfriend of Bella.
Okay.
And he was like a bad influence on her. Yeah. And she was like really depressed and morose and wanted to get out of that small little village. And he promised to take her somewhere if they could get money. So he was there looking for money. He stole something pretty valuable from the hotel with her help.
Okay.
And then a lot of drama ensued from that. but I totally missed. I don't know if my talk to text like skipped it somehow, but I totally missed the part about the painting being stolen. And I was like, what's happening?
So confused. Yeah. That's really funny.
What I find funny is like the guy didn't seem like all that bright. Like he was just kind of your general like ne'er-do-well, get hired on as like a odd handyman and then like steal some valuables.
Mhm.
And then he went straight to like art theft, and I'm like, do you have a plan for like how you're gonna like liquidate this? Like I understand sneaking around in people's rooms and taking some money or jewelry or something, but I'm like, you're gonna go straight from like taking some jewelry and a hoodie to like an art canvas that's like 200 years old. Like, how are you gonna turn this into money? Like,
Without getting caught.
are you like in an international art ring? No, you're like some random like repairman that they fired, and you ended up involved with the daughter. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm like, and then they stashed it there, like, yeah, because of course it's like, that's why it got stashed in the basement, because I'm like, I feel like they realized right away, like, what do we do with this?
What do I do with this?
Like, yeah, it's worth a lot of money, but
I don't know where to sell this. Who's gonna want this?
yeah, you can just go to the pawn shop and be like, hey, this painting's worth $100,000. Like,
You have that in the cash register right now? Yeah, that's kind of an odd. I was kind of excited when it first happened because I was like, ooh, there's going to be a mystery.
A who done it?
Yeah, and then I was like, this makes the whole closed circle thing a little bit more worth it. And then I'm like, and then it just kind of dragged on. And I was like, nope, not worth it anymore.
About the community aspect, Lisa says, I bet Jan is the type of person that knows every detail of every person in a 10-mile radius within the first week of being there.
Yep. She is that lady.
And then she said about what we were just talking about, it's sort of a Dumb and Dumber plot.
Yes.
I will say this book was the most I enjoyed Emma, having an ocean between me and her and just seeing her in emails. I was and I could not believe in that one email to her, he referred to himself as her servant. He loved that.
Oh my gosh.
Like, are you really going to say that? You shouldn't say that. He's like, too late. I already said it.
I know. As soon as I read that, I was like, oh, bad idea, Tim. Bad idea. Oh gosh. I was so confused though at the end when they kept going back and forth about whether or not to leave. I was like, how can you do that? Like, it's a plane ticket.
And then Cynthia casually mentioned something about like flying business class. I'm like, oh my goodness, they've been exchanging business class tickets this whole time, like booking business class.
He's a retired pastor. Like, how do you have that kind of money?
From the Violet books.
Right.
Yeah, maybe. That's true. Maybe she makes a lot more money than him. I guess she does, because wasn't that the plot line of another one of the books? Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah. So which is another reason he should not be such a little grumpy pants about her writing her books. She's the breadwinner, sir.
Look, I'm just writing us a trip to Ireland,
Yeah, right. Yeah, how many pastors get to go to Ireland for like a month? It seems like
Irish pastors do.
Well, that's true. Oh man, yeah. Well, this was definitely an interesting book.
It was. It was.
Gave us a lot to talk
Like,
about.
I feel like we all generally feel more positive about this one than we did the Home to Holly Springs one.
Oh yeah, I think so. I was not a fan of Holly Springs. Nope.
I am so excited for Somewhere Safe with Somebody Good. And I was looking, and there are, I think, 31 chapters, which would be awfully convenient for a month with 31 days, but it's February, which is the shortest month.
That's a good idea though, that I like, 2 chapters a day for a little bit, and then a chapter a day.
Yes. Yes. Okay, question. Have we ever heard of Ella's Dress Shop? Am I just forgetting that?
I don't
I don't
recognize it.
Okay.
Well, I'm not very good with all the shop people's names.
Yeah.
And also Wanda's Feel Good Cafe
Oh my. No, I
and
don't
the
remember.
Irish Woolen Shop. Oh, and Lisa, yes. Lisa asked what is the next book. It's like Somewhere Safe with Somebody Good.
The Irish Woolen Shop, I feel like we've had a couple references to. I feel like he's gone in and bought a sweater before.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely has, because I
Ah.
remember thinking, wow, it must be really hot in North Carolina to be buying wool in the summer. I remember thinking that a couple of times.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the dress shop, is
Hi,
that what,
Jessica. Jessica's watching.
is
Oh,
that
hi.
what, remember in, I don't remember who it was. I guess it was the cafe. Is that was the cafe Esther's or the villainous lady? I don't remember her name. Esther. You know, it was falling apart like it had a bad foundation. Did the
Edith
cafe
Mallory,
close
is
down?
that her name?
What was it?
Mallory, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's it.
Edith.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't the cafe close down, and I think it was later turned into a dress shop?
Although
know.
I thought no, she just owned, she
Oh,
owned the diner that he's
Yeah,
always
the
going
property.
to. But oh yeah, so Irian says she thinks it's new. She thinks the Wanda shop is new. Well, that would
Okay.
be fun if there's like a new townsperson.
Yay. But just to add to our already beloved group.
Yes.
We don't have to add a whole bunch of new people.
And they need to actually go to the Italian restaurants. See, now what I don't like is here in the map, which I do, I love this map, but it's just called Fernbank. Or it's Fernbank. Yeah, Fernbank is Sadie's old house, right? Miss Sadie's old house.
yeah.
See, I was so excited to have many, like I wanted it to be basically like several times that they were visiting it in every single book. And we're just not getting, we are getting all the spam comments tonight though.
Uh-oh. I didn't see a spam.
Yeah, this is the third one now. Well, let's see. I'll just the synopsis real quickly.
Okay.
He's had 5 hectic years of retirement. Father Tim and his wife Cynthia return to Itford, for a so-called pleasure trip to the land of his Irish ancestors. So maybe the ring will come into play. He's glad to be at home in Mitford. Something is definitely missing from his life, a pulpit. But when he's offered one, he decides he doesn't want it. His adopted son, Dooley, wrestles with his own passion for the beautiful and gifted Lace Turner and his vision to become a successful country vet. Dooley's brother, Sammy, still enraged by his mother's abandonment, destroys one of Father Tim's prized possessions. And Hope Murphy, owner of Happy Endings bookstore, struggles with the potential loss of her unborn child and her hard-won business. All this as Wanda's Feel Good Cafe opens. A romance catches fire through an internet word game, and Mitford's former mayor, hatches a campaign to throw the bums out, and the Weekly Muse poses a probing inquiry. Does Mitford still take care of its own?
Ooh. Hopefully we are getting back to our much beloved
Programming
drama.
as usual.
Yeah.
That sounds
like it.
That sounds really good. And I'm laughing that we have an internet word game romance, right? When like the word is being taken by storm by a word game.
Are you playing Wordle?
I'm playing Wordle. Yes.
I have not. I don't understand what it is. So
Rainey, let me give you the reasons why you should play Wordle and why.
Okay.
It is like Hangman, just playing on your own.
Okay.
Each day there is one word that you can guess. So it's not a time suck because it's just one word each day. It's
Unless
not
you find the archive.
You have to download. What's that, Angie?
I said, unless you find the archive of previous words.
Okay. Unless you find the archive. Wish I didn't know that now.
Oh no.
I found it. It is a time suck now.
How many years back does it go?
2 years, I think. I think it started in 2021. Yeah, 2020. I think 2021.
So that's 1 year then.
Oh, 1 year. Yeah.
I think this is like number 226 or something was today. So I'm assuming that there's 226.
Yeah, one a day.
The only thing is that my husband is very smug about winning every day. It's very annoying. Although I won yesterday and he didn't.
Ooh.
It was a very exciting day.
Oh, wait. How do you win if you play by yourself?
You only
just
get
guess the
6
word.
guesses. You only get
Oh.
6 guesses.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, you get 6 guesses.
It's like,
And-
what's the game? Is it like, what's that game called? Not Minesweeper. There's a Mastermind. Mastermind?
Minecraft. Oh, I don't know.
Minecraft?
There's a game that's like it, but with colors that I used to play when I was little. It's like where someone
Tetris?
sets up. No,
Oh, I'm sorry. Battleship?
no, it's like identical. That someone sets up a secret code of colors, like 4 or 5 colors, and then you put down colors,
Oh
like
my
little
gosh.
colored tags.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I love that game. They were like little like pins that you would.
Yeah, and you had so many down the path, and then they would be like, oh yeah, this one and this one's right.
What?
And then
That was fun.
I feel like it started with an M, but I could be.
It's like in my parents' house. They still have it, but I forgot the name.
My grandma had it.
Yeah.
But it's that
It is a
concept.
grandma
It's like
game.
that plus Hangman, because
Yeah,
it's the same concept where it shows you if the letter is yellow, it's in the word but not in the right place, and if it's green, it's in the word in the right place. And what is that game called? One of
the things that makes this game fun is that the words are just like average, everyday words. They're not these, like obscure Scrabble words that are made up of like weird combination of letters.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Mastermind. That's the name of the
Oh,
game.
Mastermind.
Mastermind. Okay.
Sorry, Angie.
Oh no. I was just saying. So you don't have to have you don't have to be necessarily like my brother will study obscure Scrabble words so that he can win. And so like he'll play like QZ and it's like, no, that is a word. Look, see, this is the Scrabble dictionary. So he memorizes these words and it's like, that's no fun. That's no fun. So this is fun because it's like sugar is a word, but you just have to, either start with either have a really good strategy word. Cause I've seen people who are like, oh, I always play these 2 words. These are my 2 strategy words. Or you can just do random, which is what I do. Every day I'm just like, okay, what's the first 5-letter word to pop into my head? Okay, that's what I'm playing. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't.
Now, what I think would be funny is if 2 friends would kind of psych each other out about it and try to like slip, if one of them like already had played and they would try to act like they kept slipping the word into conversation. And so then the other person would be like, I don't know, are they psyching me out? Or is it really like, it's sure a crisp fall day out.
Now we know what Kate will be doing after every conversation.
My friend and I, we text each other every day when we solve the puzzle. And so we send our little, share our puzzle.
Yes.
I might do that one day. I might just be like, just randomly like, yeah, today is such a crisp day.
And not even like, you could even sometimes you could slip in the real word. And then sometimes just, depending on the day, just do fake words. And then she just crippled into like, did I actually win Wordle on my own or not? I don't know.
She'd kill me if I gave away the word.
Now, my husband, his first word he always does is Ouija. Because that does cover a lot of vowels.
What is it?
That's true.
Ouija, like a Ouija board.
Oh, okay.
And because I wish I could just do AEIOU as the first, just to figure out what vowel is going to be in the word.
Okay.
But they didn't like that.
I like.
So is the idea that you get 6 tries, but you have to like say a whole word?
Yeah,
it has to get a real word each try.
Okay, so it's not like Hangman where you're just guessing a vowel or.
Yeah.
Okay.
You do a whole word each time. That's true. That is how it's different.
It's it really is if you've ever played Mastermind, it really is Mastermind, but with letters.
That's
I
so
probably
true.
have. I can't think of it, but it sounds
It's like a very 80s, 90s childhood game because it's like
But
not electronic and
probably
there's just a bunch of little pieces to
Yes.
lose.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so simple. It's so simple, but it's so entertaining.
It really is.
I like starting with ramen or other. Those are my two favorite starting words.
Ooh.
One lady I read online, she said it was a few days ago when the word was, it was a very average word, not one that you use every day, but it's one everybody knows. And everybody on Twitter was like, I cannot solve this word. I cannot solve this word. People were complaining because nobody was getting it. And I was in the same boat. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? What is this word? And then so I went online to see what other people were saying. And this one lady in a blog post, she said her words are always pious and teary. Those are her two words, pious or teary. So I'm like, I don't have a word. I just go with whatever random
Well,
word.
the other day when this is a spoiler for like 3 days ago, when it was whack, like that seems like a fake word. I was like, I'm gonna is that a real word? Like it seems like a word people use that isn't a real word. Jessica, this game is amazing. It is not exhausting. Do not worry.
Yeah. It is frustrating.
It is frustrating.
Yesterday's word was really frustrating to me because I only had one letter and there were so many combinations that worked. And so I was really angry when I saw people who were solving it in 2 tries. And I'm like, well, how? That is all luck. It's all luck because I had so many combinations that worked. And it was just basically like, choose one. So I would choose one and it didn't work. So then I still had countless combinations. So I'm like, just choose one of these other dozen words. I played it. Didn't work. I was like, oh my gosh, none of these, it's like, this isn't helping me because every single word is still a word that I can make. And finally on the 5th try, it was just, again, random, just some, I mean, I was still using the letter that I had and the letters that had not been revealed yet, but there were so many combinations I could make that it was like, well, it's not fair because that person guessed in 2 guesses, but because they just happened to guess right, not because their strategy was any better than mine. So that's when I was getting really frustrated.
Well, I think we've gotten off track enough that maybe we'll end the live stream here. We get very passionate about Wordle, everyone. Thank you.
Jessica, we're going to have to try it. Jessica, you and me. We're going to try it. We're going to
play it today.
Play it today. Play it today. You know, I'm trying to think of fake 5-letter words that aren't it, and I can't, so I'm just not going to.
I'm too dumb. I didn't even, we just talked about that. I didn't even think about it.
But wait, today, T-O-D-A-Y. Oh, today actually is.
Well, now you know what word I'm going to start with.
I did not win the one today.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Bye. We'll be back next month.